God put on my heart tonight to make this video to tell you exactly what He can do, and where He could bring you from, and where He could put you. I was raised in a Christian home, Christian parents. My best example in that home was my mom. God took her home November of last year. But one thing she instilled in me was the faith that I have now. By no means am I perfect, or have I ever been. Been far from it. Very far from it. I straddled the fence all through my life, and what I mean when I say by straddling the fence is 1 minute I'd serve God in front of people, but behind closed doors it was a different story. Behind closed doors, I was an absolute heathen. Later on in my life, after my teenage years into adulthood, it came out that I wasn't really serving God all those years. I was pretending. Though I tried, though I had the desire to do it. The desire for worldly things was more. It was stronger than the desire for God. At the age of 3, my innocence was pretty well taken from me. Started being molested by cousins, neighbors, friends of the family. Went on until age of 13. All of it kept quiet. Till finally, the last one that was molesting me, the one that was the longest, was caught by my mom. From a young age like that, and your innocence being taken, you begin to believe you're not worth anything, that you're unloved, unwanted, and only a sex object for men. I'm here to tell you, you're not unwanted, you're not unloved. You're not just a sex object. You are a child of God, and He's waiting for you. With His arms open, He waits. He beckons us. He tries to pull us in. But He's a gentleman. He don't force it. At the age of 14, met a friend that was a couple years older than me who introduced me to cutting. Told me, you're going through pain, you're going through depression, this will help you release it. I listened to her, I started cutting. I cut from the age of 14 to the age of 36. I'm 37 now. Thinking that was my only release. Of the rejection. Of the hurting. In my heart, the brokenness I felt, the emptiness I felt. Believed it was the only way. As I go on in age, I was introduced to drugs by yet that same friend. Periodically, every once in a while, not all the time, I would use. Not knowing, not understanding it was destroying my soul. As well as the cutting was. At age 21, I had my first drink of alcohol. I was an alcoholic from 21 to 25. Another outlet for what I was going through and what I felt. All these things never filled that empty place. But when I did try to serve God, He filled it to a point. But I was still holding on to my will, on to what I wanted. How I wanted it. Also at the age of 21, my innocence taken yet again, but through rape this time. Someone I trusted. Go on a few years, about 26, 27, another rape. Go on a few more years, another rape. And during these periods in between, I was trying to fill that void. Because at that point, I felt like I was just a sex object. That that's all I was good for. That nobody wanted me other than that. I'd use the drugs. I'd use the alcohol. As an outlet. Also at the age of 8, the person that was molested me the longest handed me a cigarette to keep my mouth shut. I started smoking at age 8. I've just recently quit. Thank God. Completely quit. My point is, we go through things. We go through them for a reason. Biggest reasons? He's got a purpose for that stuff. He's got a purpose that's going to come out of all the tragedies you've had in your life. of all the hurt, of all the pain. When you come to God, your life is transformed. You no longer desire the things you desired before. Before I finally released everything this year to God, as in gave it all up completely, I was addicted to porn heavily. And through that, it opened other doors for more demons to torment. Through the other things, it opened doors also. I've been married one time before. And at that point in my life, I was an alcoholic. I didn't care. I thought he was the perfect man. I was proven wrong. My marriage ended after 3 years. Mostly because I pushed him away. But it was toxic from the very beginning. It was not a good situation to be in. During all this time, I had several Christian people in and out of my life. God places certain people in your life at certain stages for certain reasons. We don't always know why they leave, but they leave sometimes. The past 14 years, I've had a wonderful spiritual mother that warned me several times, yet I did not listen. All this while, minding you, she's trying to tell me, and I'm still going with the suicide attempts. I'm still turning to men. I'm still turning toward the porn. I'm still turning to cigarettes to try to fill that void. She kept trying to tell me, you're not going to fill it with anything. You got to let Jesus take it. I wouldn't listen. I'm sorry for that. Because then it wouldn't have taken me 14 years of her being in my life to realize where I went wrong. And that all the time I thought I was serving God, I wasn't. Because I hadn't given him everything. I hadn't laid everything at his feet and said, take it. I wanted no more. And when I did lay it at his feet, I would pick it back up with the least little bit of stress that would come in my life. August 2013, I met who I call my big sister. Mind you, I'm the only child, had no siblings growing up. And how I met her is very strange. Not strange so much as knowing it was God that said it. He proved himself to me in August of 2013, when she popped up on my Facebook. I don't know how she got on mine. She don't know how I got on hers. But me personally, I would not change it for the world. That woman popped up on my screen that night, and I had a knife. I was going to commit suicide. Every single one of the friends that I had at that time knew I'd stay on Facebook all night long when I'd have days off the next day and just play my games. I had it planned. Make it look like I was playing my games into a way with myself. This woman was woke up in the middle of the night with God telling her, get on Facebook and speak to this person, and you'll know who it is when you see the green light. I guess I was the only one on that night that was on her Facebook as friends. Her exact words were to me, and I had the knife in my hand, don't do it. God's got better. He's not done with you yet. I dropped the knife, and first reaction I think for anybody would be, okay, where's this person at? How are they seeing me? How do they know I'm getting ready to do this? When I seen what town she was from, I knew she wasn't anywhere, well, she was near me, but not real close to me. It was actually the town that I grew up in, the town that I hated. I said I'd never return to. I didn't even want to know anybody from that town, because my past was known. After that, I tried yet again to serve God. Failed many times after that. Backed out, went back to my worldly state. In March of this year, I was living with a friend in a nearby city. I got drunk that night, completely plastered. By this time, I was into prostitution heavy. That night, I got on Facebook. It was going to message another friend, not her. And I had been trying to avoid her as well as anybody else that was a Christian on my Facebook. I wanted nothing to do with it. I contacted her that night. In the middle of our conversation, I sobered up immediately. After trying yet another suicide attempt that did not work. God wasn't done with me yet. He still isn't. He wanted me then. He wants me now, and He will always want me, as well as He will you. If you're on the brink of giving up, if you're to the point where you're saying, I'm just gonna get off this world, it's too painful, stop. Don't do it. a Christian friend. Call a church nearby you, a pastor from a church. Call him and tell him, I'm hurting. I almost done this. I want Jesus in my life. Will you help me? They will. And you don't even have to do that. All you have to do is lay it down and call on Jesus. He can fix anything. He can fix anybody. Nothing is impossible for him. You're not a hopeless case. There's hope. He's not done with you yet. Anyway, in March, that was my last suicide attempt. I then lost my place to live. My doing. My big sister took me into her home when no one else wanted me. God wanted me, and God would not allow her to give up. I thank Him for that every day. I moved. She took me into her home. I stayed with her and her family for about a month and a half. It seemed I was starting to get things right. It appeared that way to everybody, including myself. I was fooling myself at the time. God blessed me with a job, with an apartment, with a vehicle to get back and forth to my job, with a church family that has always and will always pray for me, with a sister I never had because of being the only child that I always wanted that never gives up on me. He took a broken vessel and started transforming it. Into a beautiful vessel. During this period of staying with her, we went to a revival, and I grew up with a nickname, and I'm putting this on Facebook, so a lot of you will know me by it, with the nickname of Cat. Went to a women's conference that night. The pastor that was there, God spoke through him. Everything I was bound with started to break. During this period, he asked who had brought me. At this point, I did not hear what was going on around me. All I could hear and feel was a breath and someone wrapping their arms around me. Mind you, it was nobody around me. It was Jesus himself. When my big sister spoke up and said it was her, he asked my name. She named me by my nickname of Cat. He got an awful look on his face. He said, "No, what's her given name?" My sister said, Kathleen. And he said, no more calling her Kat. God did not give her that name. That name is attached to demonic things that he is breaking right now. No longer Kat, it's Kathleen from this time on. Ever since that night, I felt a pull. Though it's been several months and falling by the wayside several times. He can change everything. He can change your desires. All you gotta do is call on him. My transformation has begun. Even farther. Before recently, I held a lot of anger against God for taking my mom before I could say goodbye. I released that anger recently. Amongst releasing other things. I sit before you a changed person, and some of you I know won't believe it because I've said it several times. But it's no longer a I have to. Stick with Christ. It's now a I want to. I'm starting to step out of which I should have done a long time ago. God would give me words to say. And I wouldn't say it. And because I wouldn't say it, most recently I lost a friend of mine. Of which I was angry at myself for. Because if I would have just said what God wanted me to say, that person would still be on this earth. All I can hope now is that somebody else shared the gospel of Christ with him. Because I didn't. I kept my mouth shut. But with this transformation has come boldness. I challenge you to take time tonight, today, whenever you see this video, and search your heart and release those things you're holding on to. It's an amazing experience to have a Savior that loves you so much that no matter how many sins you've committed, no matter how bad you are, He can forgive. And you can go to heaven. You don't have to go to hell tonight. You don't have to go to hell, period. that emptiness you're feeling can be replaced with love, joy, peace, understanding. It says in John 3:16, and a lot of us know it, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth on him should not perish but have everlasting life. So I challenge you, search your heart. Because there is a heaven and there is a hell. And if there's stuff you're harboring that is not like Christ, let it go. We're not promised the next second. We're not promised the next minute. We're not promised anything as far as that. We do not have a long time. The time is now to turn to Christ before it's too late. My decisions were not forced on me. Whatsoever, they were my decisions. We all have free will. Some of us make the wrong decisions. But I sit here and look where I came from to where I am today. He's blessed me with so much. June of this year, I met my husband through my cousin. God knew what he was doing. Yes, a short time of just being together and then getting married. But when it's of God, nothing can separate that. And nothing can separate us from our God, Jesus. Nothing. My desires have changed. My wants have changed. My perspective has changed. Looking at myself a year ago, no, a year and a half ago, and looking at myself now, I would never want to go through what I went through. I gave God my all. And now what wants have been planted in me will blossom. I know it's not going to be easy. But I've got more of the want to than I've ever had. Quite frankly, I used to try to serve God just to make others happy. Not anymore. It's not about me. It's about Jesus. It's about how much He loves and cares for us that He died on that cross to save us, to deliver us, to heal us. All you have to do is ask God to come into your heart and mean it. Truly mean it. And release all the hurt and all the pain. And allow Him to wrap His loving arms around you. I felt God's arms around me 3 times in my life. The other 2 times I rejected. This time, I did not. And because I truly laid everything at His feet, I believe my life is better now. I got a tattoo today that says God's warrior. I never looked at myself like that before. I do now. He allowed the things in my life to happen. So I would come to Him. I am one of His chosen. I am truly, though I never seen it before, the woman of God He's made me. Desires change when you give it to Him. Where once you may desire drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it may be, your desires change and you become truly happy. We're not here just to exist. We're here to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to a dying world. And we need to do that. Don't reject Him today. Let Him in. All it takes is a little prayer. All it takes is opening your heart and saying, Jesus, come in. So if you're feeling empty or even discouraged right now, seek Him. Let Him heal you. I love you all. But more importantly, Jesus loves you more. So I urge you to search your heart this night. This night, this day. And begin to seek Him more. Too often we use excuses of, I don't have time. I'm too busy. It not only angers God, it hurts God. And more importantly, it's hurting your spirit in the long run. Come to Him tonight. And remember, you're not hopeless. If you're seeing this, there's still hope in Jesus Christ. Thank you for watching and listening. And I know it's a long video. I apologize for that, but I had to get it out there. God bless you and have a great night. Love you.